What's good, people? Today I'll be going over with you what's the best setup for you to shoot with, how to change your shot meter, and what it all means for you in NBA 2K23 on both generations of consoles. I'm Chris from Sports Gamers Online, and alright, let's get it. First, we're going to start off dipping into the settings menu to help fine-tune your shooting to best match what you're comfortable with. So let's go on over to your features from the main menu, and then click on settings and scroll down to shot feedback. New this year, you don't get the information from shot feedback being on until the ball actually hits the rim to not spoil whether you or your opponent has greened a shot well in advance. Although the ball's flight path can still spoil the result of your shot. If the ball shoots out like a rainbow, you're going to probably miss it because you released the button or stick too early. And if it's more of a direct line drive, you're going to miss it because you were late, and a perfect shot's flight path will be comfortably in the middle. By default, this will be set to all shots, which will tell you how early or late you released your button or right stick on a jumper if you did not green it. And it will also display how covered you were when attempting it, which I would recommend leaving your setting on. Turning it off, you don't get any information about how well you timed your shot or how covered you were. Selecting user only will give you info only about your shots and not your opponent's. Free throws only will only show you your timing on your free throw attempts. And of course, all shots will tell you about you and your opponent's shots and how covered you both were when you took them, which is what you will want this on, as it will display valuable information to you about your timing on each shot and how you can adjust to the next one. Backing out of this with you settled on whether you want your shot timing and coverage displayed and when, we're now going to change up your shooting settings to your liking by going into your controller settings. And now we'll focus on your shot meter, shot timing release time, shot meter type, and your perfect release sound and animation. Starting with shot meter, this remains true for another 2K, and having it turned off will give you a bigger shooting boost than having it on. So going with no meter, you're gonna have some cues you wanna focus on since you don't have the meter to do that. And shot timing release time, which I'll go over shortly, will further assist in that. But mainly you're either going to focus on releasing the ball when the player raises his arm above his head or when the ball is about to leave his hand generally. Now, if you're unsure whether you want to fully commit to the no meter life yet, there are two options you have that you can set up for yourself. Setting it up to shot button only will have the shot meter visible if you shoot with the square or X button on your controller. But if you use the right stick, the meter will be turned off, so you will have both options at your disposal. And note, this will not affect layups, only shots. Pro stick only will do the exact opposite and have the shot meter enabled when you shoot with your right stick and off if you shoot with the button. But note, if you scroll to the bottom, make sure your pro stick function, which is your right stick, is not set to dribble moves, as this will override whatever you have up here and disable the right stick for any type of shooting. If it's on shots or default, it will work. And lastly, if you want to have your shot meter on regardless of what you do, keep it on right here. Now going to shot timing, this basically asks you the question how much user input you want when you're going for jumpers and layups. By default online, this will be on shots only. So what it means is when you go for a jumper, you will be timing the shot yourself. Whether you have the actual shot meter on or off, you're still going to be timing it to hopefully green it. And if you notice when you go for a layup, you won't see the timing section at the top. It used to say NA, but they removed it now. It will just rely on the player's rating, how covered you were, and the badges of everybody involved instead. Real player percentage uses the player's rating for jump shots now as well as for layups. So this obviously benefits the better shooters. So if you're aiming for a true realistic experience, this setting will be for you. But if you want complete user control over everything, putting your shot timing on shots and layups may be the plan. This gives the user full responsibility for what happens on jumpers and layups towards the rim when you shoot with the button or stick, depending on your settings. And when you turn your shot timing on for shots and layups, going for layups, you will have the same meter that you use for your jump shots if you have your shot meter on. The thing with this setting is because you're now timing your layups as well, which you now see the timing section is back when you go for layups. Having that responsibility can either have you finishing like Jordan in Space Jam after drinking all the secret stuff, or have you turning the game off after going 0 for 9 on wide open layups because you weren't ready. It's worth it to at least try having your timing on shots and layups, but if you find it too hard, don't sweat it. That's why shots only is there. And new this year is shot timing release time. And this setting will tell the game what is your preferred time to release your button or stick to shoot. And to portray this, since the jumper will be the same, the meter will feel slower or faster depending on whether you select very early, late, or very late. So from looking at Embiid's jumper, you can set it so to get a green, you're letting go on the way up because you have it set to very early. Or you're letting his full jump shot play out before you let go because you have the shot time and release time on very late. So if your shot meter is off, especially if you're playing with one player all the time like in my career, you can further tweak your shooting with this to help tell yourself better on when to release your shot. Obviously, the earlier you have this set, the quicker the ball can leave your hand and avoid defenders. But this setting is entirely up to you and whatever jumper you have equipped, so play around with this. Now we're going to go down to shot meter type, where you start off with 5 by default. Curved bar on the side is what you start with, a smaller curved bar, a mini straight bar, a comet above your player, and a tusk underneath your player. So they're pretty much covering each location around your player with each of the default 5 meters. And combining the shot timing release with your select meter can match things up for you if your team meter on. Maybe if you're using the curved bar and you're releasing it too early consistently, it appears the meter is going too slow for you. So you can speed up the release time to see if it helps match what you're doing. Maybe even swapping where the meter is showing for you slows you down, and it may help you better putting it in a different spot. And with each, 5 people can have 5 different answers for their favorite. But I'm personally gonna give love to Tusk 1, which is the underneath shot meter, as my favorite one to use in the game so far, as I'm able to time majority of my shots with it, and it works with the defensive shading mechanic light show that goes on underneath my player, so I'm not looking all over or around my player when I shoot. And also you can have an animation play above your head when you hit a perfect release shot. The defaults are again a flame or a basketball, or you can turn it off completely if you're not into that type of stuff, or gain more animations from unlockables. And there's also different sounds you can play even if you turn your animations off, that if you play online, your opponent will be able to hear as well. So with that, tell me how you've been shooting so far in NBA 2K23. Do you use no meter? Do you play with your meter on for layups? Let me know down below. Because of how shooting is and how green and brick it is, I love the addition of shot time and release times to help further tweak our ability to nail down our shots. And if you like the content we provide, make sure to subscribe to Sports Gamers Online if you haven't, so you don't miss anything we put out. All right, people, I'm Chris from Sports Gamers Online. Thank you all for watching, and be good, y'all.